film. Oh, this is my boyfriend, by the way.
How y'all doing?
We're gonna film a video about our relationship. I think the last video we filmed was like 2 years ago that he was in. So, yeah.
Off a long time.
Yeah. The lighting is kind of off, but the only reason is because I would open my curtains, but the lighting outside is not that good either because it's supposed to storm today. So, do apologize. Anyways. Yeah, so today we're going to be filming a video about our relationship. I have some of the topics on my phone, so if you see me looking down, that is why. Anyway, would you like to start? Okay, the first thing we're going to talk about is how we met. Also, if you see me keep pulling my shirt up, this shirt is a little bit big, so yeah. Anyways, anyway, we're going to start with how we met. So, would you like to start?
That's a funny story.
And we're going to go in detail, so this video might be a little bit long, but yeah. Go ahead.
Well, I was on Facebook one day, and I was just checking out, some of the status people write on there. And I get a message from somebody, and at first, you know how everyone is. When you get a message from somebody new that you don't know, you kind of like, okay, what the hell? Like, who the hell is this? So, I get a message. So, I get a message, and it's from her, and she said hi. I'm like, hi.
It was like one of those random messages.
Yeah.
You just get from somebody, and you're like, what is this?
Yeah. So, we started talking and everything, and about a day later, it was a day later, she asked me out. Now keep in mind, I've never had that happen before at all. I'm so used to the guy asking the girl out. So when she asked me out, I said, give me a day to think about that, because it really caught me off guard.
And this was on October 13th of 2012, by the way.
Yeah, so the next day I told her, I said, let's go out, let's give it a shot. So we went out good week. Then since we both still had issues going on, we decided to, let's be friends for a while. So
keep in mind, we weren't friends as like talk every day, like ask each other how we're doing. Like we didn't talk for like an entire month after we broke up the first time.
Yeah. So it was it wasn't bad. I know she had a lot of stuff going on. I had a lot of stuff. So
right. It wasn't one of those things to where you're like, you try something and you're just like, I don't like this person anymore or something like that. Like, we had a legit reason as to why we couldn't be in a relationship at that moment. Now, did we go to some other people as far as relationships? I did. I dated this one dude for like maybe not even a week probably, and he was a jerk. And I realized that I still had feelings for him, and so I ended that really quick. He was kind of a jerk too, by the way. But anyways, I'm not gonna give names for obvious reasons, but he knows who he is. And I don't talk to him anymore, by the way. I don't talk to any of my exes, actually. The ones I claim, I don't talk to any of them. But when we first got together, it was new, obviously. And I hadn't been in a relationship for like 2 years or so before I met him. So I was kind of new to the whole relationship thing, and I knew where he went to school because my third brother, he doesn't live with me, that's why I refer to him as my brother, but my third brother, he was going out with this girl that went to his school, and she knew of him, so that's kind of how. So it wasn't one of those things where it was like a blind type of thing. It wasn't like, oh, I'm going to talk to this person. I have no idea who they are. They could be like 30-something years old coming to kidnap me. No, it wasn't like that. I saw pictures of him. I knew of him. And I knew people that knew him. So it wasn't like a complete I don't know you type of thing. I didn't really know anything about him or anything like that versus what was on his Facebook. So, would you like to talk about when we got back together? That's
Yeah, about that. So, like she said, you guys, when we broke up, we didn't talk for like a month. So, keep in mind, when we broke up, this was October.
Yeah.
The next month was Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So, I'm with my family on the 28th. So, I'm with my family. We're, everybody, when you get with your family, you celebrate Thanksgiving, go out, eat up some food and stuff. So I got my plate and I'm heading to the room. And I get a text message. Now keep in mind, I'm like, who in the world is texting me on Thanksgiving? So
I think you thought that it was one of those like Happy
right?
Thanksgiving
I
text or something like that.
I thought it was. I was like, okay. And when I looked, it was from her, and I was like,
You thought I didn't have his number.
yeah, I was like she still remember me. like she still got my number. Like what the? So, we started talking, and next thing I know, I get the ass backed out. I'm like, is this really happening again? I was like, and she asked me, well, do you still have feelings for me? And I said, of course. Of course I always have feelings for you. I told you whether we were together or not, or, we were far away, I was always going to be there for you. I was always going to love you, regardless. So, when she asked me out again, I didn't hesitate. I was like, yeah, sure. So.
I think it caught you by surprise though, because your first text was like,
Hi.
Yeah, you were like, I think you were kind of like, this isn't for real. Like this isn't her. Like.
I actually, you guys, honestly, I really didn't think it was her texting me.
Yeah.
At first.
He thought that like somebody took my phone and texted him or something like that.
Yeah, because that's happened before.
Because he didn't think that I still had his number, but I didn't have it like. The name wasn't the same as when we were dating, but I still had the number. And so we have been dating for almost 5 years, actually. So that is kind of how we met. So the first time we met in person, this is kind of a funny story on my part, anyways.
You tell that one.
So we met so we started dating the first time in October of 2012, and then we officially started dating in November. So fast forward until October of the next year, so October of 2013 is when we actually met in person. So we had been talking on the phone, texting, that type of thing, for almost a year, a month shy of a year, and we started talking about a week or so, or probably like 2 weeks, I think, before we actually met in person. We started talking about, we wanted to meet in person, we wanted to actually meet each other. And we had talked about it before, but it wasn't really something that we, talked in detail about until about 2 weeks before it happened. And I told my mom, I was like, because I had told her early on that I was dating, him or whatever. And I really didn't go into detail about it again because, I didn't know if it was going to go anywhere as far as, how long it was going to last. And so I really didn't want to tell a whole lot of people right off because, when you're in a new relationship, everybody's going to have an opinion about it, and I didn't want to deal with that. Maybe we'll get to the whole opinion thing in a minute, but, I just didn't really want to deal with that, so I didn't really tell a lot of people. Well, about 2 weeks later, we, decided we were going to meet, when we were going to meet, all that stuff. So I got ready, and I'll link below the videos that I recorded that showed me getting ready, doing my hair and all of that stuff. And, I got in the car, and we were heading there, and it was only like 30 minutes away from where I lived. And so we got and it was a restaurant where we were gonna meet each other. And I saw the sign for the restaurant, and my heart started pounding really fast. I was like, this is happening. Because keep in mind, I don't do the whole online dating thing. It freaks me out. I don't condone it. However, like I said, I did know him from, I know what school he went to, and I knew people that knew him. So it wasn't, again, it wasn't like a stranger thing. I knew him. I had pictures of him, stuff like that. And we had talked a lot. So anyway, we get there, and he's almost there because I had called him because he wasn't there yet. And
She called me like 3 times.
yeah,
Asking me where I was.
I was nervous because, like I said, I had never done that before.
Don't keep in mind, neither have I.
And
This
so
was
it
the
was
first
different.
for both of us.
Yeah, so it was different. And so I called him. I was like, where are you? Because I didn't want him to get lost because I didn't know if he had been there before. And so anyway, he got there and he started walking up, and I was in the back seat of my dad's truck. And
Her mom first spotted me, and her mom had never seen me before in her life.
yeah, my mom had just seen pictures of him, and I was like, that's not him. She was like, yes, it is. And the reason why I didn't recognize him at first is because I have really bad eyesight, and so I can't see far away. And I don't have my glasses on when I first met you. And so, I couldn't see who it was. I just seen a person. I didn't see, an actual face, I guess, because I couldn't see that far away. And as he got closer, I seen him, and it was one of those things to where it's like,
This is actually happening.
yeah, and
This is real.
yeah, and so, I got in my chair, and because obviously I'm in a wheelchair, and he knew this. We'll get to that kind of stuff in a little bit, but he had already knew about the wheelchair before we had met. I told him within a week of us dating about it, and so he was already aware of it. So anyway, I got in my chair and we went, and we talked and everything, and we ate, and it was fun. It wasn't one of those awkward things. It wasn't really an awkward situation because we had been dating for almost a year, and before we had met, like I said, so it wasn't really an awkward thing. It was more or less just like, we really didn't run out of things to talk about. It was like we had known each other forever kind of situation.
Like best friends getting together.
Yeah, it wasn't really, to me it wasn't awkward, like you would think it would be. It wasn't really awkward. So what was your first impression when you think?
Truthfully, I'm being honest with you guys, truthfully, I was nervous as, man, because like she said, I don't do the online dating thing, so, but after, us talking for a year and I got to know her, so it kind of took the nervousness off, but, it helped a little bit, but, it still was nervous a little bit because, that was the first time we were actually meeting. But, as soon as I saw her, man, she came out, she came out the truck, and it was funny, because when she came out that truck, she wasn't smiling, she looked mean as hell. Like, she looked like one of those people where, man, you just...
I was irritated because my dad, well, he's really my stepdad, but he's like a father to me now, so I'll make a separate video about that, and I won't get into detail, but anyways, long story short, I do not talk to my biological father anymore. So I consider my stepdad my dad, so when I refer to his dad, that's what I'm talking about. Anyways, he was aggravating me about it. He was like, not really making fun of me, but in a way doing it where it was aggravation. It wasn't like trying to be mean or anything like that. It was like, because that's how he is. He loves to aggravate, and so he was doing that, and I kind of got irritated. But so again, that's why I had that look on my face.
But after she got out the truck and like she said, after we got in the restaurant, sat down, eating and everything, it was we had a really good time. So.
And And I remember when my parents first met you, and the first thing they asked you.
Ooh, I remember that.
We were sitting there, and it got quiet for a second.
And our parents looked at each other.
And my dad looked at my mom, and he goes,
And
I have to ask you something.
And
what did they ask?
And I literally told, and I no lie, I literally looked at him and said, I think I already know what questions you gonna ask me. So
yeah, he had already knew what they were gonna ask.
I was like, go ahead and ask, because I already know them. And you know, yeah, what was it? The question they asked me
He
was
like, I have to ask you something, and Brandon was like, I think I know what you're gonna ask, but go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, where do you work? And I started laughing because I've told you guys before, but he at the time he worked it for his family's funeral, and he still does part-time whenever they need help or whatever, but that's where he worked full-time at the time.
Mm-hmm.
When we first met in person. And so
that was so funny.
And they like wanted to see his ID and stuff, because my mom is very overprotective, because in this day and age you can never be too careful.
But what's funny is that I pulled out my ID soon as we sat down at the table. Her mom didn't even ask me. I just pulled it out, gave it to her. I'm like, oh yeah, this is me.
Yeah, because you can never be too careful these days. You know, you have to be careful who you talk to and who you're around, because you never know what can happen.
Yeah.
And I wasn't mad at her for that, because like I said, you can never be too careful when it comes to things like that.
And I knew why she was doing it.
And I was 14 at the time, so.
And I was 17.
Yeah, so it's kind of one of those things to where you have to be careful, because back then, I'm saying it like we were like 8 years old, but
Well.
what, almost 5 years ago, it wasn't quite as dangerous as it is now.
Yeah.
You see teenagers going and meeting people online, and it's not quite as it wasn't the best choice, but it wasn't as dangerous as it is now. So you just have to be kind of careful. So that's why I just kind of let her do her thing and get comfortable with the idea. And it did take a while, but once she met him and stuff, and she loves him to death now. So, but yeah, that was our experience of how we met in person. Anything you would like to add to that?
Oh, yeah. That was also the first time we actually had our first kiss.
Oh yeah, that was interesting. That was funny. I forgot to add that, but you can talk about that.
All I'm gonna tell y'all is once lips touched, sparks started to fly. That's all I'm saying.
It was actually kind of funny though, because like I was anticipating him to ask me, and he just wouldn't ask. Because like from the time I got out of the truck to the time I got back in, I was like, is he gonna ask? But I didn't want to ask because I had already asked him out. So
I just looked at her. I said,
is he gonna ask? And he went to hug me, and then he like slipped it in there like real quick.
I said, can I have a kiss? And she was like, yeah. I was like.
And it was one of those things. It was like right then you knew that you're gonna be with this person. So, and I had never felt that before, so it was pretty interesting. All right, next topic we're gonna talk. This video probably is gonna be long because I'm not gonna edit it, so I do apologize. Anyway.
She gonna edit some stuff. Don't worry.
Anyway,
she can't live without editing.
When he went to Job Corps, how did that strain our relationship? Keep in mind, as of right now, and even when we first met, we were only, 30, 45 minutes apart as far as distance.
What?
Like from your house to here, or your house to mine.
Yeah, we were like.
Biological father's house.
Yeah.
We were only 30 minutes apart.
Yeah, but when I went to Job Corps, we were actually 3.5 hours away from each other. So,
his decision to go to Job Corps was basically, it was easier for him. If you don't know what Job Corps is, it's kind of like.
Job Corps is basically a government.
Because I don't know anything about it.
It's basically a government free education for people that are, I believe legal age is 16 through 24. I believe. Yeah, 16 to 24. But it's a program where instead of instead of you having to go to college. Now, I'm not saying that college isn't the best thing. You can still go to college, but that program is basically there to help you, get a trade or get your education, get certified on things. That way, you don't have to pay for it. And now, the government pays for everything. You don't pay a dime. The government's paying for you to go to Job Corps, and they give you money. They pay you to go to Job Corps. So that's basically like having, that's basically saying, you got a job. They're giving you a job, give you a free education, a free place to live, free money, or give you money. So, it was all right. It was all right. It was. I'm not going to lie and tell y'all it was the best thing in the world, but it helped me.
Yeah.
It helped me to get my life on track. So.
And at the time, like I said, it was easier for him because he still worked, as in the funeral home at the time, and so, he'd have to go on pickups at 4 a.m. and then have to get up at 6, 7 a.m. to go to school.
Yeah.
So it was rough, and so he brought up the topic to me, and at first I was kind of like, I wasn't, too fond of the idea, but the only reason was because I really didn't know much about it, and I'm very paranoid when it comes to being away from him. I always have been, probably always will be. But anyways, so when I first kind of, was told about the idea, I kind of, I was like, let me think about it. And so a couple of days later, I was like, if you think that's going to be easier for you and you think that it's going to benefit you, then go ahead, and do it. And, it was a hard decision because we wouldn't be away from each other for a long period of time. Because when we first got together, we were seeing each other, every week, probably.
Yeah, then when I went to Job Corps, I was gone for an entire year.
Yeah.
And it's like, I would come home, but I wasn't home like every day.
Right.
I was.
You stay there. It's almost like college. Like you live there.
Yeah, that's basically it. It's like you basically on a college campus.
Yeah.
You're living there. So, but while I was there, I was able to get my education. Get a trade, get certified on different stuff. And I keep in mind, I don't have to pay for it.
Right.
I didn't have to pay for it. None of my family had to pay for it. The government was paying for the whole thing. So I looked at it as, okay, this is a chance. I'm getting an opportunity to get a free education.
Right.
Without paying.
Right.
So, and I knew that, it would help benefit me in life. It helped, improve me as a person. So.
Right. And as far as how it strained our relationship, it was hard in the beginning just for the simple fact that,
Yes.
we were further away and we weren't able to see each other as often or talk to each other as often, as we would like to. But at the end of the day, you have to look at the fact, okay, it's for him, it's for his benefit. And so I didn't want to mess that up. And so, if I had to go a little bit longer without speaking to him, that was fine with me. As long as I knew that he was safe, I was fine. It wasn't a problem. And again, if you hear my niece in the background, I do apologize. She's hyper. But anyways, it wasn't really something that was easy in the beginning, but I got used to it. So, anyways, we kind of talked a little about this, but how was your Job Corps experience? Would you recommend it to somebody?
I actually would. I wouldn't recommend go to the one I went, but it's.
Find a good one in your area.
You don't even have to find one in your area. Go to jobcorps.com and find a Job Corps that's offering you your trade.
Right.
When I say trade, I mean something that you want to do in life. Whether you want to be a welder, construction worker, police officer, firefighter. Find one that's offering that trade, and then if that's something you want to do and you want to get certified, go for it. I guarantee you, it's a good experience for you.
Okay. Next we're gonna get kind of serious. And this is something that's kind of hard for me to talk about. So if I get emotional, I do apologize. But it's my depression situation and how that's affected us. Um, I first told him about this. Well, I first got diagnosed with it when, like, 3 years ago, I think. And as far as how it affected us, it was hard because neither one of us kind of understood it at the time. And when I first told him about it, he was kind of like, I think that there was a feeling of helplessness because he didn't really know how to handle it. He really didn't know how to deal with it. And so, um, obviously the ways that I chose to cope with it were not the best thing to do in the world, but at the time it was what happened. And so, um, it wasn't easy as far as our relationship was concerned. It did take a toll on us for the simple fact that a lot of it was difficult, and it wasn't the easiest thing to do and to go through, and especially for him because he really, like I said, he really didn't know what was going on or how to help. And so I think a lot of it was he was just kind of like he didn't know what to do. And so he was kind of like, I want to help you but I don't know how. And so it was definitely hard, and it still is, because I still have days where I don't want to get out of bed, I don't want to talk to anybody. And a lot of people don't realize what depression is, but it's a constant everyday situation that you have to deal with, and a lot of people don't believe in it, and that's perfectly fine. But I know what my body feels, and I know what my brain does. And so what was your opinion about it when you were first told?
I knew that it was it wasn't no easy challenge and something like that, but I also knew that I was gonna be there for her no matter what.
And he was.
No matter how long it took, I don't care. You know, if we didn't talk, or she didn't want to, she was in one of her moods, or she just didn't feel well. No matter what, I don't care what it was, I was gonna be there for her. And I told her, I'm not leaving you at all. I told her, I
He
said,
was very, very supportive with it.
I told her honestly,
Even if he didn't know what to say, he was still there.
yeah, and I told her, I said, I might not know so much about depression, but it doesn't mean that, I can't learn. And as time went on, I started learning. Even now, I still learn more and more new things about it. That way I know, okay, situation comes, I know what to do. So,
And a lot of people, they look at it as it's straining on a relationship for both, but I think it more affects the other person. I mean, obviously it's going to affect you too, but I think it's more stressful on the other person because they don't know what to do. They're just kind of there. They don't know really how to handle certain things, or what would I do in this situation. And so you have to teach them. There's a lot of things that a lot of people don't know about depression. And one of them is some people are more physical in that when they are going through that, they need somebody to physically stop them from either hurting themselves or, doing something like that. And so whether that's, self-harm or drinking or smoking or whatever, and so a lot of people don't know that, but there's some people, like for me, some people can't physically stop themselves. And for a while I was like that. I couldn't, physically stop doing it. And so
guys, and honestly, she can even tell you this. There were many, many nights she would call me, and I don't care if I was out, I don't care if I was on cloud nine in my bed. She called me. She would call me and tell me,